Lights, camera, action. If you're ready to hear about what I'm super duper excited about, living out a childhood dream and some new things that I'll be doing with my channel, stay tuned and find out. Keep watching. Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. This video is going to be a little different. I'm speaking to my queens out there who may be over 50 like myself and have longed to dream to do certain things. They have certain aspirations, something different that they always dreamed about to do with their life. But, you know, a lot of hills and valleys and peaks, trials, tribulations, and just a detour of things just turning out different. Many times we dream of doing certain things and we take a turn in our lives for whatever reason. And a lot of times, you know, my sisters and brothers, I'm not leaving the kings out, because of family, because of marriage, because of maybe career-wise, a lot of different demanding things happen in your life, and you kind of let those dreams die, or maybe not necessarily die, they kind of fizzled out. But there's a peace in your heart, there's something in the back of your mind that always still yearned to do that thing, and you think it's too late. But I want to hope to motivate and inspire you to not let that dream die. And even for my sisters over 40, basically that Gen X era, because, you know, that's what we did. A lot of us had families young, you know, we really worked to take care of them, put children through college, just different things. But it's not necessarily, especially career-wise, what we were passionate about doing or what we wanted to pursue. And one of my things that I did, I mentioned in my last video, was last weekend I had my very first acting job. I've done extra work in the past, but an actual speaking role, supporting role, and I filmed in Philly last week. I can't tell too much about it because, you know, we have NDAs, so I can't wait till it comes out. I'll be able to share more when the time comes, but I was excited. Just because I was able to fulfill a dream. I don't care. One of the things I learned from my acting coaches was no matter, don't let my age, they always said, because my first, with the amazing Tracy Moore, casting director, acting coach, she's originally from California, but she's been in New York for many, many years. And this summer I had a class with her, a 5-week acting course, you know, learning how to self-tape and do things of that nature. And one of the things with me is always feeling that, you know, because I'm older, I feel like I'm so much behind the 8 ball, like I'm so far behind with so many, you know, young people and millennials out there making this happen. Gen X's, when I wanted to do it, I didn't. It's like, girl, you starting so late, you got to play catch up. And that's really, you know, getting the tools that I need to do to be, you know, not some movie star, not to be famous, but to be a good actor, actress, putting out quality work and, you know, really paying my dues and going out there and learn. And they said, do not let age be just a way to detour you or, you know, discourage you, because there's so many roles, right, that need moms, that need older sisters, fabulous aunties, right? And sometimes with us, you know, black don't crack sisters. So, you know, even though I may be 54, I may could get away with a role in the early 40s, you know. You never know. So yeah, we age very well. We take care of ourselves. At least we strive to, and we should, mentally, spiritually, as well as physically, um, to be able to endure any career. But whatever it may come with acting, a lot of jobs take endurance and perseverance and maybe long hours, and this is something that you got to work on physically, endure, and really wrap your mind around it to be able to do something like that. So one of the things that I really want to stress with you is don't give up on a dream. To be an actress was something that I wanted to do since I was a little girl. I mean, how many of you put in the comments, um, regardless of whether it was a singer, actor, anything in entertainment, I was glued to the TV. If you wanted to be a musician or you wanted to get into music production or film production, whatever, when it comes to arts and entertainment, the school plays, I always wanted to be in the school plays. I was glued to the television. My mother used to always yell at me, get out of the TV. I don't care if it was old black and white Hollywood films, because I loved the way that they dressed. I loved how they carried themselves. It was just a whole different era, the golden age of Hollywood, right? So, wait, give me a second. You have to make sure I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. What was I saying? Wanted to, I look at them, and then, you think about the movies, and back in the 70s when I was a little child, that was the big age of, the black exploitation movies. And, sidebar, that's something I want to do on this channel. I want to, highlight actors and actresses, whether it was in the golden age of Hollywood, black actresses and actors that we never may have heard of, or we've seen and didn't know who they were, or just never got their flowers while they was living, but they were phenomenal. And we know many of them as I came up watching television in the 70s. As a little girl, I saw a lot of these pictures, and probably some I should not have been seeing for my age. Superfly and all those movies. But my mom took me. I mean, the 70s, you know how the 60s and 70s was. They had that carefree age. They wasn't really sticklers. They bring the children with you. And we may not have been in certain areas or smoke-filled rooms. My mother dragged me out to card games on Fridays that I probably shouldn't have been in that atmosphere. But, we stayed where the children were supposed to stay at, because, we stayed out grown folks' business. That's how we were raised. But I went to the movie, and mom guess didn't have a babysitter, so I remember certain scenes in Superfly, and I look back now like I should not have been seeing that at like 5 and 6 years old, but I did, and let it go. But there's a lot of things like women and men that I thought like were great looking. I look at them like, even with my little self, we know a good looking black person when we see it, regardless of the age. And, I was like, oh, Ty Bridges, and when I was little on Different Strokes, I thought he was so cute. Just a lot of people, and Pam Grier and Jane Kennedy, these amazing, beautiful women. Linda Carter, back in the days of Wonder Woman. I mean, I thought these women were so beautiful. I thought they were great on the screen. If they fight and did karate, Pam Grier used to do those action scenes, and just things that they would do. Wonder Woman, I thought she was amazing, and her stunts, and she's playing a superhero. Bionic Woman with Lindsay Wagner. Tootie on Different Strokes. Tootie from Facts of Life. Janet Jackson when she was Penny in Good Times, and then when she was Charlene, when she was Cleo on Fame. I mean, I lived for television, and it was so many shows that like I'm like glued to that box. Like, I want to do that, and really it was because of how these movies made me feel, being an only child till I was 7. And then, I had my little brother who was like, everything to me, because I loved taking care of him. He was like my personal doll baby. But then there was such an age gap in between him and as a boy. So then a lot of my time was spent playing with my toys and dolls, and, a lot of times alone, and really imagining things. And that's why I fell in love with acting, because it really expanded my mind. I loved how different characters made me feel, even sometimes when it was sad. Even situations was happy, it made me laugh. It was just, that those layers of emotions, and being able to have people express themselves, and to be able to change characters and get into the mind of different people in their situations. Even to this day, I'm such a movie and TV fanatic. Different types of movies, different type of actors. I mean, down from Scarface, I love Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, John Travolta. I've loved him since. Remember Boys in the Plastic Bubble? I'm telling my age. You already know that. I don't care. I love the era I grew up in. Love my age. Great time. Okay. But I remember that. Welcome Back, Kotter. I mean, those actors who I watched when they were young, when I was little, I'd say John Travolta, Tom Hanks from Bosom Buddies. You have Henry Winkler from Happy Days. Ron Howard became a great, amazing, writer, producer, director of films. From Opie when he was on, and what's oh God, why it escapes me. Andy Griffin Show. So yeah, as Opie, and then as Ralph on not Ralph. What was his name on Happy Days? Richie Cunningham. Yeah, and so all of these shows, I mean, we grew up on the days as I got older in high school. Then we had Cosby's, and we had A Different World, and um, you know, Facts of Life. I think I was still in elementary school when Facts of Life came out, and all of these shows that we looked up to and loved, and down to older shows like Knots Landing, Falcon Crest, Dynasty. Remember? Oh, the good old boys of Dukes of Hazzard. Oh, even superhero shows like The Incredible Hulk. Love, shout out to Lou Ferrigno. Rest in peace. Did he pass, right? I'm trying to remember. I think so. It was amazing. It was amazing. These actors and the work that they did. I know my mother was big on Western. She loved the old vampire pictures in the days of Vincent Price. And I remember watching that too. Remember Creature Feature in the Bowery Boys on Saturdays after cleaning the house, watching my Saturday morning cartoons, right? And then we have shows like Fat Albert and all these other shows, and the Croft Super Puppets and all that. And then, mom had us, it was clean. She was cleaning the house or whatever. And, a lot of times, that's when I was younger in the 70s, help her the best way I can. Definitely in high school as I got older, we was going to help. So after that clean on Saturday mornings, and then we got into Soul Train, and then all the music of amazing music of the 70s and the 80s. It was like a great time. I love it. Hip hop era came into, shout out to 50 years of hip hop to all my peeps. Old school hip hop, absolutely love it. Legendary will always be my favorite. That is just such happy times. And then came to the Bowery Boys would come on, then Creature Feature, and then you would have Vincent Price and also old movies, and then we'd have, remember, King Kong and Godzilla movies. Then you have Bruce Lee and the Kung Fu flicks. And I grew up in Patterson, New Jersey, and we had a theater called the Fabian. Shout out to the Fabian. It resurrected and came back. But where it used to be on Church Street, it was like an old theater, like a mini Apollo. And my mother said back in the days, I guess 60s, early 70s, they used to have shows there. And they would bring celebrities into the city. And they had like a lot of other movie theaters, like 3 other movie theaters besides the main Fabian Theater. And when I was young, we would get to see, especially on Sundays, and everybody on Easter Sunday would be out in Patterson going to this movie theater. And I don't know if you had in your city, but put it in the comments if your area Sunday or Easter Sunday was like everybody in the city was out. But back then, if for $5 we can get 2 movies back in the 80s. And yeah, this in the 70s too, one of the probably late 70s, that I recall when I was going to the movies, because maybe like 79, I was maybe around 10. Still wasn't really going to the movies by myself, but I knew by the 80s when I was going with friends, $5. We get 2 movies. It would be the main feature, then it would be like a horror flick or a kung fu flick. And so we get two movies for the price of one for $5. And so we loved it. That was like the place to go. And I was just such a movie head. And this was something I always dreamed of ever since I was little. I'd say, Mom, I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to California. That was my thing. And even in the 8th grade, me and my friend Kimberly, we said we was going to UCLA. And I was going to go out there, go to college out there, and then go out there and be an actress. You know, back then they was talking about movie stars. Now my thinking and perception of it is not to be some star, just to be a good quality actress. But back then I wanted to be this big star, you know, because it was just so grand, you know, the clothes, how they looked, I mean, the life, you know, growing up in the hood. Of course your imagination would want to go to something better, greater. I always seen myself, you know, excelling and doing what I love. So any opportunity when I was little to be in a play, I got a chance to do that. And I remember in high school we had something called the Inner City Ensemble in our city, and it had a lot of urban areas would have this. And it was, you know, kind of reminded you of Fame, not a high school, but a place that where we can go to learn the arts. And that's where I first learned about improvisation and, you know, doing different scenes and just different techniques. I hate that had left in the city. I wish they would bring stuff like that back. But yeah, I mean, every play in school, I wanted the role, I wanted the lead, I wanted to be able to do what I saw in that box, watching these shows glued to that tube every single day. I mean, TV is what I live for, outside of Jax and Double Dutch and still going out there playing. I was such a tomboy, going out there playing. But what I could depend on after school, do the homework. I'm going to watch those TVs, from the after school specials to all my shows. I literally still remember the nights when certain shows were on. I mean, me and my dad shared a lot of shows. Rest in peace, Daddy. A lot of shows we watched growing up. Even Benny Hill show. And yeah, he was a little fresh, nasty something. And that's something at my age I probably shouldn't have been watching either. But he was hilarious to me. So that old British humor of Benny Hill, I got to learn and get affiliated with that. And, you know, it was just a great time. I think Monty Python and all those actors from that era of British comedy, dry but the sense of humor. Benny Hill, it was just hilarious. And it wasn't a lot of talking. It was just funny. So watching that, and then I remember Tuesday nights was my Laverne and Shirley and the Happy Days. I remember Wednesdays being, I know that was a Dynasty night. I may have been Falcon Crest. Knots Landing was Thursdays. I remember that. It was an old picture called James at 15. That was another show. I know Fridays was for Dukes of Hazzard, The Incredible Hulk. Falcon Crest may have been Fridays too. But yeah, and then Saturday, American Bandstand, remember that? I mean, so there were certain shows for certain nights. Love Boat. I mean, all of these great shows. So some of those nights I remember. And then they started like rotating them around, especially with some black shows. They started moving their dates. I think Good Times, Jeffersons, some of them with their ratings, even Different World. I heard some actors would say that after a while, they would start moving the nights around, and because they had other shows they was trying to hype up, and the viewership would go, and then eventually that show would go off. But you know, there were just some things they didn't do right for Black and Latino artists when it came to our programming. Now it's a lot different. So that's to say, I say that to say this, being an actress back then, it was so much harder to get into. You had to basically, you heard the stories like Taraji P. Henson took her baby and with like $600 or $700 in her car and jetted out to California. You know, it was no streaming services back then. It was no internet. It was no, you had to like get your life up and move out. If you could afford to go to college away, which a lot of us couldn't, as far as, you know, Black families, it was a big struggle and sacrifice, or your family had to do well off. And my mother, you know, she worked in a factory. My dad was a simonizer at a a car dealership. So it wasn't like we were wealthy people. We lived decent. Um, I didn't think when I was little. I remember things that I, had to deal with, the rats and the roaches and the stuff in the mice and beating roaches off me, living in the living room on the couch. It was a rough life, but back then it was fun. It was just a part of what you dealt with in urban America. It was a part of our life. I mean, I guess those were our pets back then. No cats and dogs had to fight off those creepy crawlers, which to this day I can never stand seeing a roach, because I guess, back then the thought of it is traumatizing. But back then it was just like, knock it off, keep it going. We grew up tough back then. We did what we had to do: fall out of trees, climb. I jumped rooftops, climb from windows to, like Lauryn Hill said, flipping on a pissy mattress, right? It was hood fun. But it wasn't that to us. We didn't call it a hood. It was home. It was our neighborhood. It was filled with love, laughter, and great times. But to be an actor and deal with that industry back in the 70s and 80s, even 90s, it was harder than it is today. And after a while, when I didn't go to UCLA like I wanted, I did go to college. Shout out to Rutgers University, yes. I did go, later, went to community college a year after I graduated high school, but I worked because that's what you saw. I guess back then, mom just saw that as a fantasy. You know, I'm talking about it. It was a dream, but to me, it was real, and it was something I really wanted to do. And I don't think she even knew how much I loved it, but I knew, from those who are around me that didn't go away to college, that worked, or dealt drugs, or whatever the case may be, to try to make it, those aspirations of going to Hollywood. And that's basically was it. It was no, now you can say there's other areas, New York, of course. Back then, I really didn't hear about so much about New York. All I knew was California and Hollywood and Warner Brothers and MGM, and that's where you had to go to make it big. And I didn't see that happening. So I worked, and I said I still want to go to school because I had good grades. I was always an honor roll principal list student. I always tried to do good in school. And that's what I did. Went to high school, went to community college. After I graduated community college, a few years after, I had went to continue for my bachelor's. And after my last child, that's when 2008, I finally had finished with my bachelor's. But it took some time because, life happened. At 21, I had my son. So a lot of the acting dream was pretty much gone. I had to work to take care of him. Then, I started joining Nation, started working in my community, just really trying to live a positive life. Just trying to focus on that, the rise of Black and brown people, my community, and got married, and that's what I was really focused on. And then, work and just try to make it and try to do right and try to help others do right and, be a good example for my children and move on and then, live. But deep down inside, still loving movies. There's a piece of you when I look at movies, I still fantasize. I still looked at, those actresses that I admired. The Taraji P. Henson, Kim Fields. She grew up, and I'm like, you're still doing it. And then I hear the stories like, wow, I wish I had the support. I wish I had the finances. I wish I was able to still do this because, they say if you think about something and think about it so hard until it makes you cry. I don't want to make this an emotional video, but that's something you should still be doing. And I think that when the pandemic happened and so much death and a lot of different things started to transpire. I started to realize that that yearning in me still never died. And one of the things that I said, even with catching, COVID, that was a very scary time. Just a lot that was going on in the world made me realize how short life is. So then a year ago, I started going on Backstage, and that's where you get to go and find different roles, whether it's extras, student films, short films. You just get an opportunity to set up a profile page and get on there. And that's something that, wait, hold on one second. And that's something that I did. Now, as I said before, because I was trying to not get into, not to get emotional, but there are things sometimes that we go through. I was married for 9 years, been divorced for 15 now. Wow, time flies. And even since that time, my whole focus was my children. Especially when you go through a divorce, it takes a toll on the family, and I wanted to still give my family stability and make sure my children, got what they needed. To help my son get through college, to help my daughter. She didn't want to go to college, but help her with what she wanted to do with trade school. She turned out to be a replica of me. I call her my twin. She took theater for 4 years in high school. So that's like my mini me. So I said, you know what? I will live through her and help her with her dream. Because one of the things that I said I wish I always had was the support and the resources. But I didn't growing up. But it's a dream that I still always had. And so my daughter, with her love for, when I told you I started Backstage last year, she had it as well. And we were talking, and I had told her, I said, would you mind if mommy, because I always said I was going to be her momager, right? Sorry. I was going to be, help her with her career. And, be supportive, because that's something that I didn't get, and I wish I did. But like I said, I never thought about it too much anymore, even though I still loved movies and always had a passion for that. I thought me doing that pretty much was done. So I told my daughter, I had asked, I said, do you mind if I do a profile page and sign up as well? And she said, yeah, Mom, like, don't let your dream die. We could do it together, because maybe you'll find something. And sometimes I got a habit of looking this way, but the camera's here, so excuse me, but my eyes are going 2 different ways. But no, Mom, do it too. We're gonna support each other. We're gonna do this together. And that made me feel so good, because I'm like, sometimes you don't know where that support will come from, and it came from my own baby. So yeah, we're on this journey together. And so whenever I find something, I'll share it with her, and she'll find something, I'll share it to me. But let me tell you something. When you make up your mind to do something, God will put people and things in your path that you never saw before. Because I already had an Instagram page. When I was working and doing everything, because I work in law, I took criminal justice in college. So I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work and be a probation officer. That's what I said. I said, I love law. I do. I still do love that. That wasn't my number one dream. But I fell in love with that too. So I said, I want to do this. So I was like, oh, Allah, please help me to do this. I'm like, God will always direct you. So, and if this is something I should be doing, then it's gonna work itself out, because what is for me is for me. So I have my profile page. I would put stuff out, and that's how I got this role that I did last week from someone who saw me on Backstage, and they hit me up, and I contacted him, and I did I read his sides, and sides is like a section of the scene that he just wanted me to read to see how my acting ability was, and he liked me. And then I told him about my daughter, and then she came on the Zoom too, because it was like a virtual audition, and she wound up instantly auditioning too. And yeah, he had a role for her too, so she wound up doing her part in I think it was mid-July, and I had just did mine last week. We had postponed it because of the weather and stuff, and so I did mine. But that's how I said we were gonna do. We were gonna look out for each other in this industry, and that's what we did. So we wound up both being in this film. But to go back to what I was saying, God will direct individuals in your life to help you along the way. So once I had made up my mind to do that, so got a little disturbance, had to stop for a second. But what happened is that I started seeing individuals on Instagram, people that were filmmakers, and going online and researching one thing and finding out about a film festival. No, I think the film festival was on IG. And then I started like looking on people's pages, and I said, oh wow, Newark has an international film festival. It was the 8th annual. I work in Newark, okay? I had no idea ever about this film festival in Newark all the time. My mosque is in Newark. I did not know about this film festival. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the 8th annual. But look, it popped up. In that film festival, I signed up. I said, I'm going to go each and every one of these days. Some days I, go after work and check some things out. And a lot of the stuff was on the weekend. And I got to meet Tobias Travillis, who I absolutely admired. You may have seen some of his films. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. Met him, did a workshop with him, then became his friend on Facebook. So then did a course with him, started training with someone that I was watching in movies. I'm like so humbled, couldn't believe this was happening. Morocco Amari, didn't even know he lived in Jersey. Just got finished watching not too long the finale of P Valley. That's Big L. Did a workshop with him. Oh my God. I'm like, thank you, God. Oh my God. Then met Joe Morton. We know Papa Pope from Scandal. He's in a series with Tracy Moore, casting director, acting coach, Inside the Black Box. You can see it on Crackle if you got the free app. It's amazing. They have 2 series. They're waiting now to do a 3rd one. Shout out to, my brothers and sisters out there fighting with the actors strike. So keep fighting. I'm with you. Definitely, so a lot of things are on hold right now. So they're waiting for season 3. But I got to meet her, and she was phenomenal. And she worked and coached me for 5 weeks in her group class virtually. She also gives in-person classes in New York. And Tracy Moore has been a blessing. And I found that out because of this international conference. So, prior to that, earlier in the year, after Backstage, when I was on IG, I also found my man Robinson, who's an amazing Black filmmaker out of Atlanta, was in one of his classes back in February, his workshop. Learned some great things from him, still continuing to train. He's starting his classes back up virtually, so getting that back again because he's been doing so much film work. And yeah, and got with him. But so time has passed, and I've still been going on Backstage and still been trying to learn, looking at YouTube videos. Now I'm connecting with people. Now, God has placed people in my path. I've met these amazing actors who have been training me. Just did a 2 weeks ago, a commercial workshop with the amazing Wendy McKenzie. She's in Jersey. She worked with Notori Norton when she did Notorious. I mean, she knows so many people. She worked just like Tracy Moore, dealing with a lot of hip hop celebrities who've been not just in music, working with them, but when they start to go into film, they work with them. They've done so many great projects. And I'm like, I'm working with some stellar, amazing people. And this was all God. Because when I made up my mind, he put the people in the path and gave me the avenues and the resources and the support that I wanted, that I didn't have before. But everything is in God's timing. And who knows how I would have, what would have happened if I got into that industry when I was younger. There are a lot of things that God wanted to develop in me. I think a lot so much that, you know, what he has done to help make me a better woman. And, you know, just go through certain journeys in my life to bring me to this point. So there are things that we have done for a time and a season, and that we will still continue to do. But there comes a time when you have to think about you and your dreams and aspirations. We sacrifice so much, and a lot of times we miss what we want to do. And I got to the point where I said, life is too short. I want to go after something that I don't want to leave this earth with any regrets, and say, at least I didn't try to do something that I've always yearned to do. And yeah, and this is where I'm at now. And I just did a film, and I'm continuing to work with these amazing people, these actors, these acting coaches, these casting directors who really, Jane Jenkins is another one from California who's done so many amazing projects. In the past, she worked with Martin Scorsese, all these big time people. And she didn't even start off to be a casting director. She worked in a casting director office and met a lot of people. And eventually she started casting from that, from being a secretary or assistant in an office. And that was like many moons ago. So I was in a 4-week course with her over the summer, and I found her on Backstage, and, you know, got so many jewels. But one of the main things they said was, you know, just be authentically yourself. Bring yourself into your projects. Learn, and continue to educate yourself and what it is that I want to do. If acting is your thing, get the skills you need to do. Take those courses, take those workshops, and don't turn your nose down to student films, short films, web series. We have such an opening now, especially as Black men and women. We have Black filmmakers, writers. I've connected to so many online through social media. That's how I find out about projects. You know, I've added them and followed them now as friends. So we, you know, have this network now. And I did not even realize that I went to red carpet premieres of movies from brothers who were right here in my state, right here in my city, that I'm so proud of. Jamal Hall, oh God, I'm just like so many people. Alphonse, from HR, from H Royal Family Productions. He's from Newark. He's now in Atlanta, but you know, Jersey will always be his home. So many Black male and female filmmakers that are in the New Jersey, New York area. Atlanta has become Little Hollywood. There's so many avenues for us now with streaming services, and so many, you know, outlets and production companies that will give us a chance now, to a better chance to exercise our skills and make our dreams come true. And those who are coaching, that's right in our backyard. So reach out, just pray, step out on faith, and God will give you the tools to make those dreams that you had forever become a reality. If it's music, go out there, sing, start locally. There are local plays maybe in the area that we can, you know, check out. Go out there and study and research what is out there. As I'm learning, just hit me up in the comments if there's, you know, whatever I've learned, any resources that I've found. I will definitely share them with you. But no matter what your age, okay? Yeah, I'm just about jumping. I don't want to forget. Don't matter what your age is. You know, I've learned, go out there. I don't care. Look at the lady from Black Panther, 99 years old, when she played T'Challa's grandmother. She just started. Her grandson told her about it, and she went for the role in her 90s. So I don't care what age you are, there's a role for you if you're going to take it serious. Take the steps you need to know to grow in your craft, and you just never know what opportunities will happen. Trust me, I never would have thought this time last year that this year has been absolutely amazing when it comes to the people that I've met and studied over that will help me be a better actor. I'm just so excited about my journey. I'm just excited to where it takes me. Look out for your sister Kathy Yvette in your next film. You never know. But I just appreciate all those who helped me in this journey, who support me, who have you DM'd me a kind word, if you inboxed. I mean, don't let anyone discourage you. It can be family, it can be friends, whether, you know, those who may think it's not for you, or sometimes it could be in your church or your mosque or what have you. Stay positive. Stay with those who are going to be positive with you. You can still, you know, be a woman of God, a woman of faith. You know, be mindful of the roles that you choose, but exercise your craft, because acting is telling a story. And some of our stories are not necessarily good or happy. Sometimes it can be ugly, but there's a lesson in whatever role you play. You know, just handle it with dignity. You don't have to accept anything. If there's things that you're not comfortable with, nudity, portraying yourself in certain ways, you don't have to take that role. It's all on you. But yeah, you know, just go out there and tell your story. You're a producer, you're a writer, you're a filmmaker, you're an actor. Go out there. You a stage manager. You're a photographer. Whatever you do in that industry, do it well, and go out there and pursue that dream you had. Maybe you wanted to be a chef. It's not too late. It's not too late. You want to be a singer, you want to do something with the arts, it's never too late. Use this next half of your life, or this next part of your journey, as I'm transitioning from my present career in law and government, and I'm looking to retire. I want my whole heart and soul to be in this next phase in the movie industry and film and television and wherever God takes me. I just want to represent my best, and just do well, and represent my people well. And so thank you. Thank you to all who took the time to listen to this. Thank you to all who have subscribed to my channel. I don't care if I have 5 subscribers, 5,000, 500,000. No matter the number, each and every one of you means so much to me that you stop by to listen. Let this be a good, safe space, a caring space, a loving space where we can learn from one another, encourage one another, inspire, and motivate ourselves as women and men to just be better, and make the world a better place, and just, you know, just have fun and feel good. I want this to be a feel good space. So I know normally I'm into movies, entertainment, you know, makeup and beauty. No hair, no wigs, no makeup today. Just really talking about fulfilling your dreams and not letting anything stop you, no matter what. Okay? So thank you for joining. I just want to inspire you. I'm your sister Kathy Yvette. Please comment below. Let's talk. What is your dreams? What do you aspire to do? And let's make that happen. And stay tuned, because we're going to talk about that old Black Hollywood and some amazing actors and actresses from our past. That I want to highlight. Okay? So thank you. Have an amazing day. Be authentically you. And yeah, make your dreams come true. Until next time, peace.